This is the Internet Court of Truth and Lies. The purpose of it is if you've got something in the media that you think is the truth or you think it's a lie, and you wonder whether other people agree with you, then what the Court of Truth and Lies does is it allows you to have a non-sovereign court session where you basically dissect the lie or the truth against a set of 8 standard questions, verdict questions. And you get up to 8 jurors who also do the same dissection the way they want to do it, answer the questions the way they want to. The result is the plaintiff can see whether people agree with him and how they agree with him. And the jurors can see how other people are thinking about it as well. The real value of all of this is humans talking to humans. So one rule we have in the Internet Court of Truth, or Truth Court, is anybody can use AI to assist them. That's not a problem. The real purpose of this is not to determine what the absolute truth of something is, or whether something is absolutely certain a lie, like you usually have to do in sovereign courts, but to have the ability to communicate human to human, even if it's with the assistance of AI. That's just never been a problem. Everybody learned something. A new sponsor purchased 10 trials on a topic. The topic is the 25th Amendment, applying that to Donald Trump. And he wants to see truths and lies around that topic, what other people will judge. Another thing that this session is about is how a new sponsor gets integrated into the system or a new block of trials get integrated in. This is for a particular class of sponsorship. This particular case, the guy who put up the money wants to be anonymous, which is great, no problem. And he doesn't want to participate in the trials himself. He just wants the trials run on that to get some discourse to see how Truth Court works. Maybe if he sees how Truth Court works, he will like what he sees and he will order a whole bunch of other trials on the same subject or different subjects. No. This is the first time we've had a sponsor come in and ask for this. We're going to go in and look at how this is being done. The first trial in this sponsorship. If you go on Truth Court and you click sponsors, you'll see it. So here is the 25th Amendment trials. There's exactly one case that's there. I can see it because I wrote this first case and I'm the plaintiff for it. Y'all probably can't see it yet until it settles. I don't know whether you can see it or not.
You can see it. I looked at it.
Okay, so it's visible to you. Y'all are in this trial. That's the reason you can see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have been able to see it if you were just anybody until it closes, until it settles. And it is a public trial, so after it settles, everybody will see it. Anyway, what you will see in a month or so is at least 10 cases, we believe. It could be more than that. The guy bought 10. It doesn't mean that we will only do 10, but we will only do as many as appear within a certain period of time. Right now, a moderator can come in and set up time slots, but you can't set up time slots for cases in under a month. These trials are set up to say, okay, cases that come in the first 2 weeks after a month, which will be ending around 16th. If a trial comes in, the way plaintiff marks the trial as a 25th Amendment trial is he just says the category is 25th Amendment trials. that's sufficient for the plaintiff to indicate this considered under that category. Now, if he misses the deadline, it may or may not ever show up. There's no guarantees. And if the moderator believes that the trial is not on topic, the moderator has the ability to say, no, this just is one of the Bright Plaza trials, which we now have 787. What also happens is the moderator can ding the plaintiff for bringing up something that's not on topic. What the sponsor is really guaranteed is he's guaranteed the trials he paid for and no more, but he may get more than that. And we'll do whatever we have to do to try to get him the 10 trials that he bought within that time frame. This gives us a lot of pluses. One thing is we didn't have to change a line of our code. The system works exactly the way it worked before last week. Moderators still do exactly what they do. Plaintiffs do what they do. Jurors would do what they do, and so forth and so on. The purpose for this sponsor is they want us to make it public. So X post, Twitter tweet that we're going to put up after we do the YouTube for this trial and put it up. This particular trial is the first trial under the purpose of the first trial is to explain the sponsorship by somebody who knows what the sponsor wanted. It may be that the sponsor himself wants to do the first trial, in which case he gets to do the first trial. But in this particular case, he doesn't want to be known at all. I'm doing it. Here's what may appear on X. I'll just read it. It says the truthcourt.net currently has a sponsor for trials on the topic of truth or lies about applying the 25th Amendment to Donald Trump. Verified users of truthcourt.net can earn reputation points by being the paid plaintiff for these trials with up to 8 paid jurors in each trial. And here's the introductory trial. And so this is blank because it doesn't exist yet. So hopefully in about 6 or 8 hours, I'll have the YouTube up. That'll show up right here. If you'd like to also sponsor trials on this topic or want to see the arguments and how people interpret them, become a sponsor and buy 10 trials with up to 90 people providing their arguments. Sponsors are also invited on other topics of their own choosing. This is us trying to beat the bushes for more sponsors and also giving people a sense of what a sponsor is. This is one type of sponsor. The type is they want public trials. They want to be anonymous. They want the trials on a topic. They're not saying, try these 10 lies. Okay. They want it on a general topic and so forth and so on. There's different things that they can say that they want. And we should always be happy to help them. There are things that we can do and things that we can't do because this is a service that's designed to be larger than another type of service. This sponsorship gives us the opportunity to go out and get more people interested in Truth Court. It also gives people who are interested in seeing arguments one way or the other on whether or not Trump has violated the 25th Amendment or should be tried under it or whatever it is. I believe that most people believe that Donald Trump should be removed by the execution of the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. There are many reasons to justify this immediate action, and I'm just telling the truth. I understand how some other people might not believe it, but I believe it. What I did was I put up an example of somebody who has argued this and from which you can generate.
Meet the 25th Amendment. Yeah, it's time to talk about the 25th Amendment again and Donald Trump being incapacitated, unable to perform.
In this YouTube, the guy's a lawyer. His name is Michael Popuk. he actually hands you 20 trials you could do because he lists 20 things that any one of which would be, from his opinion, sufficient. There are 20 trials sitting there just in this one. And then in my argument, I give links that I thought were convincing to me. One of them is this guy, Engel, and I hope it'll come up. Yeah, this is this guy.
It is unusual for a president, a commander-in-chief, to...
And he's do the same thing that Popek did, which is he's going to list off a whole bunch of reasons for the 25th Amendment. Then there was another one that I found.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's your host.
And this guy here, I think, is pretty good. He's making the same case. And so my verdict in this thing is it the truth? Yeah, I think there are other ways to remove Trump, but he should not be allowed any more power in office as soon as possible. Is it the whole truth? I said, I wait other trials to investigate the details. I'd like to see other trials. This is one of the 10. And it's the setup trial for the other 10 or however many, if we get another sponsor to buy another 10, or this sponsor comes back and likes what he sees for the first 10, he might buy another 10. Who knows? Would like to see the other trials because I have my belief and I have no idea what other people think or what they believe. Is it nothing but the truth? I said yes, because other trials can investigate. So within this sponsorship, he bought one block of 10. So you can have up to 10 trials that investigate this. What's the deceit? I said there's no deceit because I'm telling you what I believe. I could show you some YouTubes that come to the same conclusion. Is the deceit or truth intended? I said the truth is intended. What's the motivation? Its motivation is to give a large number of other people a voice that can be heard. What's the social acceptability of the truth or lie? My view is that it's acceptable, and it's acceptable because it allows people to state their beliefs and to dissect their understanding of a truth or a lie, so that other people can see it and people are actually trying to understand why other people have these other views. What label would improve the social acceptability of the truth or lie? There are many trials on this subject. In other words, we're going to have 10 trials. Now, what I'd like to do, I want to verdicts on this, but not to have a long discussion because there's some other details about how we do this particular type of sponsorship in Truth Court that I'd like y'all to help me with. I'm going to go through the jurors and get 20-second or 30-second summary of their verdicts. Juror 1.
That's me. Okay. And any other time I would not mind being juror 1, but today I'm like, oh man. So what I did was I went to Gemini and it gave me a framework. So I'm just going to do a brief of it. Is it the truth?
Can you summarize it relatively short?
Yeah, it's relatively short. It says that the accusation is a mix of subjective belief, but I find it true that the filer believes this, but thoughts that there is currently a legal consensus for it, as the Vice President and Cabinet have not initiated such a process. Is it the whole truth? No. The whole truth must include that public belief or reasons do not trigger the amendment. Only a formal declaration by the Vice President and a majority of the Cabinet can do. What is the deceit? The argument implies that the 25th Amendment is a tool for public removal of a president when it is actually a narrow tool for incapacity. Using public belief as a justification is a misinterpretation of the Constitution. The motivation behind the truth or a lie. It's political advocacy versus constitutional education. The motivation may be to build political pressure rather than to follow a strictly legal process. 7, what is the social acceptability of the truth or lie? consider whether framing a political disagreement as the 25th Amendment crisis is helpful for democracy or if it creates confusion about how the succession of the presidency actually works. The last one, what would be a label for it would be the statement would be more socially acceptable and truthful if labeled as political opinion or public sentiment poll rather than a trial regarding the execution of a constitutional amendment. Please don't hate me.
No, no,
Is that
that's
summary?
like a juror two.
Hello. I actually think I agree with pretty much that. The 25th Amendment is designed for physical or mental incapacity, like a stroke or coma, not for disagreements over some personality, job performance, or policy. So the only thing I like to say is Joe Biden had more than one stroke during his term, and they didn't try to do this to him. I don't know. That would have been a good time for them to try this, in my opinion, but they haven't proved that Trump has any strokes or this is just him. And the ballot box is the way to go. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, juror four.
You're just going to jump right past juror three, huh?
Juror three. Juror three. I already checked you off. Sorry.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right. Section 4 of the 25th Amendment is what's at issue here. It's a question of, does the executive leadership believe the president is a functional risk to the country? It's not medical, it's political, and it
Right.
requires the vice president and the majority of the cabinet to sign off.
Right.
Are there criteria for which it might be invoked against Trump? Sure. Are any of those criteria presented in this particular trial at this time? No.
Absolutely. You and I are 100% aligned. So juror four.
Yeah, I must say I'm always pretty surprised that it took 24 fiddlings with the Constitution before somebody said, hey, wait a minute, what happens if our guy's a bit nuts and they have to bring on another one? It took them a while to come to that idea. It's interesting that nobody's mentioned the fact that there are a lot of ways in which Trump could become president, not just simply being a VP and then rising to the presidency. He can be elected by the House of Representatives. And if the Electoral College don't agree, they can make the House of Representatives can make him into Speaker and put him third in line. So there are lots of ways in which he could survive a vote. But basically what I think is that we think of getting rid of the leader, and we get rid of a leader and he takes all the sins away, when really it's all his enablers need to be challenged as well. So I'm vote for the ballot box and vote all these people out in the midterms rather than trying to employ this kind of 25th Amendment trickery.
Yeah, I think that is a perfectly valid way. The fear I have personally is the next ballot may not work. In other words, I'm worried that he's well on his way to making sure that he's elected up to a third
but
term.
you know what you've got to have is like all the people, his enablers, all his cabinet, who are all his
that's the
supporters, have got to turn
problem with
around
the-
and be traitors, haven't they?
Yeah, that's the reason that I think the amendment is written the way it's written, is you have to have essentially a majority of his enablers to agree that he should be removed.
Yeah.
And so they recognize that. And so if a majority of his enablers won't agree to that, it won't happen.
No.
They agree with it, then it will happen,
Yeah.
or it could happen. They still need a 2/3 vote in the House.
There is also this 25-day window, of course, where the VP and the majority, they tell the leaders of both houses that they want to replace Trump, and the VP rises to the presidency right away. The president has 4 days to reply, and then the VP can then make another declaration to the leaders of both houses, and then there's 21 days for Congress to gather and impeach him. So in fact,
that
the
really
VP
worked.
could do what he
That
wanted.
really worked 250 years ago.
Yeah. So
That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, things move so much faster.
But I'm just saying that the VP almost has a month to redress whatever the president has done, even if Congress then don't impeach him.
Yeah, and that may be it may be a partial act. Is all this? I have no idea, but is all this needed? But yeah. Juror 6. There's no juror 5 in my list.
Yeah, that's me, Bob. Look, I agreed with the plaintiff. I think Trump is unfit and should be removed. But then again, we have to look at what's the intention of this president. Is this president good for America? And besides this war, there's been many instances where he's proven to be a charlatan. His intentions don't justify the actions that he's carrying out in America and outside of the US, no matter what. He's broken many international laws. So I totally agree that he should be removed.
Yeah, that's really the basis for my thought too. He is a convicted felon, 34 counts.
I didn't know he's convicted, but yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was convicted of sexual such and such, still owes $100 million. Actually, he's a convicted crook. This is a situation where he should be removed because he's a crook. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And but it's right, other people have pointed out, this may not be the appropriate way, but there's only 2 or 3 ways to do it.
What I find quite ironic is there's many politicians in his cabinet who criticized him years ago. They said he's a liar and he's crazy, and yet they're serving him. Rubio, Ted Cruz, these guys did not like him and they openly criticized him. And now they've had amnesia.
Or they have a problem. They are similarly psychopaths. They're similarly people who just want the power for themselves, the power that they're getting for themselves, and they'll say anything. They'll agree with him as long as he, continues to let the guy be the Secretary of State or whatever. It's as simple as that. This is classic cult stuff, or what's it called, graft in government. So Juror 7.
Hello, Juror 7 is me. Let's see now. I wonder if I understood this correctly. It says the statement we were supposed to be agreeing or disagreeing with was saying, I think most people would like to see Trump removed using the 25th Amendment.
The 25th Amendment, yeah.
Okay, now I think that probably that's Trump. Now, when it says most people, that just means more than half. I don't know if this is referring only to Americans. Perhaps if it's not referring only to Americans,
I was thinking
overwhelmingly most people would like to see Trump removed.
Yeah, since I wrote it, the answer is that I was thinking of the majority of Americans.
Okay, I was thinking that probably the majority of Americans would like to see Trump removed. My logic being that about half of Americans are Democrats, so they would definitely like to see him out. And I think that an increasing number of Republicans have also become disillusioned, either because they think he's not doing what they expected him to do, or because they're thinking when he's either ousted or dead, how will it look for their future political careers as Republicans if they're just known as the yes man to that crazy old Trump? Because I think once that Trump is gone, all Republicans are going to try to pretend this never happened.
Yeah, that particular reason, the one you just said, that's why I made up this trial. In other words, because I think that there are people who have realized that this guy is basically a crook. He's basically been lying to them. Okay.
Including Republicans.
I
think so too. I think
that's
so
the
too.
reason that I said yes on the. If this were just a Democratic thing, I would not be thinking of 25th Amendment at all, because the guys that control whether that amendment will get executed are basically all Republicans. And they all work for him.
My guess is that enough of them are disillusioned or just following their own self-interest.
I think
they would think it's a good idea.
So the problem we have is that we need more than half the cabinet and the vice president to.
The vice president may be your secret sponsor, Robert.
I can't tell you who he is. I've already mentioned the fact that it's a him. That's about it.
I think it could be him.
Yeah, I doubt it. So maybe later. If it were him, he would just be making the decision.
Okay, hello. So since I am not American, I had to do quite a bit of research on this topic by studying the laws of the 25th Amendment. And what I have uncovered since look, even where we are from, we can see that Trump is not fit to lead, right? What I have read is based on the 25th Amendment in this case, because this case is specifically targeting the 25th Amendment. I would like to see Trump be exiled from presidency, but you cannot do it through the 25th Amendment, if I have it right. I'm speaking under correction, but by regards of the 25th Amendment, Section 4, it says only the Vice President and the majority of the cabinet can make that decision. So
Right.
he has an opinion, but we really can't change anything unless the Vice President and the majority of the cabinet also speaks up. But I feel like they wouldn't do that because they don't want to lose their standing.
Yeah, I agree. That's the reason that I worded the thing that I was claiming as truth, is that most people believe that Trump should be removed by the execution of the 25th Amendment. That does not mean that anybody other than the vice president and the cabinet can start the process. And even then, it still takes 2/3 in the House and 2/3 in the Senate to remove him. So the likelihood of this actually happening is pretty low. On the other hand, it's being openly discussed now on the internet, which is interesting, and I have no idea. This is, but anyway, so that's the thing.
Before
Yeah.
you get started with the discussion, do you want to stop the recording?
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. Yes.